The most powerful man on the planet, Joe Biden, is making his first official visit as President of the United States to Canada. Today is day one of that visit. But among the most pressing items on the agenda, a tiny island country that has been to hell and back more than any country should.
The humanitarian crisis in Haiti is reaching a boiling point.
Daily life for many Haitians has been thrown into turmoil.
Haiti has been in a perpetual state of disaster for years. And what the US and Canada can't quite seem to figure out is what exactly they should do about it.
Well, first and foremost, we know the situation in Haiti is catastrophic.
We're all very aware that things could get worse in Haiti.
We cannot even envisage, elections in Haiti. It would be like a disaster.
Haiti is a country overrun. It is one of the poorest countries in the world, and increasingly one of the most dangerous.
The island nation of Haiti is moving closer to the brink of collapse.
Haiti is on the verge of the abyss. Now, that's the language the United Nations is now using as heavily armed gangs expand their control of the country.
11 million people effectively held hostage by an increasingly powerful cluster of criminal gangs, armed to the teeth and with the country's leadership at its mercy.
Assault rifles on city streets.
Earlier this month, Doctors Without Borders had to shut down one of its hospitals in the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. The reason? We are looking at a war scene just meters from our hospital. Large numbers of stray bullets have entered the hospital compound. Another emergency clinic reported a 10-fold increase in the number of gunshot wounds.
It's morning in a middle-class suburb. Minutes after a shootout, a show of force by the police. But usually it's the gangs who call the shots. There are over 100 armed groups in the city, instilling fear and silence. Across town, Francois St. Clair has just been patched up at a trauma hospital run by Doctors Without Borders. He saw gunmen holding up 2 cars in front of his. When he tried to get away, he got a bullet in the arm.
Haiti's interior minister has even told residents of Port-au-Prince to prepare to defend themselves in their own homes.
Many schools are now being closed because they are receiving threats from gangs, telling the schools that if you have to operate, you have to pay a ransom. Some days they even kidnap 30 people. And it happens that they kidnap school bus. Imagine, school bus with little kids, little angels being kidnapped.
And that's just gang violence. Set aside the kidnappings, the killings, the rape, the robberies. According to the UN, nearly half of Haiti's entire population of 11 million people face acute hunger. That is to say, if you don't get shot to death, you might just starve to death or die from disease.
There's no clean water. There's no gas for generators to be able to operate hospitals. And right now, there's a very important cholera outbreak.
So at this point, you might be asking, what exactly is Haiti's leadership doing about all of this? Police, government, anybody?
The Haitian National Police Force is not equipped. It does not have the intervention material required. No drones, no armored vehicles with battering rams, to knock down barricades set up by gangs. They have no protective equipment for special intervention and population protection brigades that should have at least 1,000 police officers equipped with shields and ballistic helmets, weapons and ammunition adapted, to gangs that are very well trained in the use of weapons.
On repeated occasions, UN investigators have either found the Haitian National Police to have failed to protect people, or at worst, colluded with gang leaders. One of the most notorious gang leaders in the country, Jimmy Cherizier, nicknamed Barbecue, is himself a former police officer. As for Haiti's political leadership, Just look to the country's most recently elected president. Towards the end of his term, he was deeply unpopular. That footage from Vice News was taken about 2 years ago, not long after the president was assassinated.
Now we're also tracking some breaking news for you this morning. It's out of Haiti, where the country's president, Jovenel Moïse, has been assassinated. He was shot overnight at his home.
His replacement, the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry. At the time, he was backed and recognized internationally to fill the vacuum of power, becoming the de facto leader of the country. But today, among Haitians, he's widely seen as illegitimate.
Haitians take to the streets calling for the ouster of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Thousands of protesters blocked roads, shut down businesses, and marched through the streets to demand better quality of life. Violence and kidnapping have surged in Port-au-Prince and nearby areas in recent months, with gangs killing hundreds of civilians in their fight over territory.
He was, after all, never elected, simply appointed. He has failed to hold an election in the 2 years since the assassination, and now he is increasingly seen as part of the problem, accused of colluding with the very gangs that have torn the country apart. According to a report from Harvard Law called "Killing with Impunity: State-Sanctioned Massacres in Haiti," government officials have sought to suppress anti-government organizing through bribery, and when that has failed, have enlisted gangs to carry out targeted attacks against anti-government strongholds active in the protests.
Because, the total impunity systematically granted by the Martelly regime, the Moïse government also, to all criminal actors, murderers, traffickers, organized criminals, including police officers, politicians, the disaster of bad governance, corruption, the voluntary weakening of institutions, including the judiciary, have not helped. Where is the government of Haiti? Where is the leadership? The governance itself is totally failed. It is a failed state.
And so we have three interlocking problems. One to do with security. The second, humanitarian. The third, political. And the international community seems completely unable to reach a consensus on how to tackle these things, or even in which order you tackle them. And I'll give you an example. Some neighboring countries in the Caribbean see as a precondition to getting directly involved that Ariel Henry is kicked out of office. But how do you establish a new government while the country literally burns?
There's a need for reinforcement. There's a need for support. And we cannot, unless, we solve this problem of insecurity, we cannot even envisage, elections in Haiti. It would be like a disaster with so many, more than 100 criminal organizations, well-armed, well-organized, well-equipped, that are in total control of the capital. How can you imagine elections in that situation?
Enter Canada and the United States, two rich countries. And because of how close to Haiti we are geographically, and just think of where so many Haitians have settled. Florida, one of the biggest Haitian diasporas in North America, and Montreal, where the overwhelming majority of Haitian Canadians live. It would seem that those two countries would be best positioned to help. But the U.S. is reluctant.
The United States believes that finding a country to help lead that effort is important. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Joe Biden's administration has been clear. It has no desire to put boots on the ground in Haiti, to put soldiers and police officers directly in harm's way in what could be a long, dangerous, intractable conflict. Armed warfare in the streets, at a time when domestically voters are divided and politics are polarized. No, the U.S. does not want to be the country that takes the lead.
Is the U.S. interested in Canada being that country?
Well, Canada itself has expressed interest in taking on a leadership role. What I don't want to do is jam anybody. So I want them to be able to have the conversation.
So here's the thing. Justin Trudeau has said Canada will play a leading role, but it may be more a case of Canada being expected to do so rather than being genuinely interested in getting directly involved. This country has all the same concerns that the United States does, and so it has moved cautiously.
You have announced that Canada is conducting an assessment mission in Haiti. What kinds of options are on the table once that assessment mission is over?
So obviously we're in solution mode. That's why, like you said, we sent an assessment mission, and many options are on the table, but we need to get the evaluation and the recommendations first.
In October, Canada announced a fact-finding mission, a small team in Haiti that might help Canada figure out next steps. 2 months later, a second fact-finding mission. Both missions would confirm urgent help was needed. Neither concluded Canada should send soldiers or peacekeepers. Now, to be fair, both Canada and the US have delivered military assets to Haiti. Over the last 6 months, both countries sent armored vehicles to Haitian police to help dislodge a gang blockade of Haiti's main fuel terminal and to support the broader fight.
The purpose is to reinforce their capacity to finally get a grip on the security situation and to deal with the problem of gangs dominating certain critical parts of Port-au-Prince in particular.
In February, Canada announced it would deploy 2 Kingston-class coastal defense vessels. You can think of those as patrol ships, but specifically designed for shallow water security and surveillance.
The Royal Canadian Navy is deploying patrol ships off the waters of Port-au-Prince. They'll conduct surveillance and gather intelligence.
But nobody believes that any of this will be enough to solve Haiti's crisis. Rather, there would have to be a direct involvement from some kind of coalition of willing nations.
How about Canada taking the lead of an intervention force, but in collaboration with what the countries of the region can offer.
Translation, boots on the ground, led or guided in some capacity by Canada, but made up primarily of people from neighboring countries. A kind of international Caribbean police force. Something very limited in scope, limited in time, but very focused on propping up Haiti's national police, eventually paving the way for free and fair elections. The Bahamas and Jamaica have committed to sending their own forces to any such eventual mission. But the other 13 member states of what is officially known as CARICOM, or the Caribbean Community, no such guarantee.
We're all very aware that things could get worse in Haiti, and that's why Canada and partners, including the United States, are preparing various scenarios if it does start to get worse.
Which brings us back to where we started. Every day the world struggles with how to tackle this impossible situation. People die. So with the US president in Canada right now to discuss the most pressing concerns of our two countries, Haiti is among the most urgent of problems. The only question is, what's the next step in taking on a mission no nation seems to want? I'm going to ask that question to one of our reporters, Evan Dyer. His work has been so foundational to so much of our reporting on this topic, and he's going to join us right after the